Man, what a weekend, huh?
You're making it up. You're too big for the world, Rob.
Sometimes I wish I was brave enough to try singing. Fortunately for you guys, I'm not. I have a short one here. I guess this is about letting the things you can control help you deal with the ones you can't.
Nice.
I call it paint's cheap. Paint's cheap. For $100 a can, you can turn the old new again. A 2-part epoxy facelift. 1 pass of the roller, blemishes and imperfections disappear. With the proper amount of prep work, dull and cracked will become smooth and shiny. Let the needle scaler chip away at the problem areas. When you're done painting, it's important to step back and admire your work. Take a minute to appreciate the freshly painted perfection of your net reel, say. Because you know, as soon as you use it, it will begin its slow path of degradation back to the state that caused you to paint it in the first place. But for that moment, let those things you can't control slip away. Because maybe you can't change the weather or fishery politics. And maybe your bouts with optimism are less frequent these days. But right now, your net reel is flawless. Thank you.
Probably a lot of you have heard my stories. This is a little bit serious, and I've been wanting to do this. Is this okay? I've been wanting to do this the last couple times, but there's hundreds of stories to be told. Each one of you has one, and this is another option you might think about. Though we all want to leave stories to our families of our adventures in the fisheries, some of us get overwhelmed thinking about memoirs and long books, so we never do it. I found a way one winter. I wrote a Christmas story for my great-grandchildren as a present, and I read it to them. My daughter said, "Mom, you need to make this into a children's book." Since then, I have written 7 children's books, all of them about Alaska and children. Most of them have to do with fishing, and I have done a cross-generational thing. I have put their great-grandpa in it, Captain Ed Bilderback, who was a legend, a hunter, trapper, and fisherman from Cordova. They never knew him, but I put the great-grandchildren, the grandchildren, all of them in the stories too. They are all together in there now. Whenever they read the story, great-grandfather, great-grandsons, even mom and dad. I find it a way to leave my stories to my family and show up to 4 generations. Just a thought? I self-publish my stories. I sell them in gift shops in Alaska. Each one is personal and each one is true, mostly anyway. If any of you would like to know more about how to self-publish, it's easy to do, it's simple, it's fun, and you are leaving a legacy. Telling stories that might never be heard by your children, grandchildren, and their children. I brought some books for you to look at to see how easy it is. I go to Kindle Direct Publishing, they walk you through it. See me if you're interested, I'd be glad to help you any way I could. I'm 85 years old now, and I started this when I was 82. They have been a joy to me and my family. I've had such a wonderful, adventurous life, and sharing some of my stories with you at the Poet-Fisher gatherings have been one of the highlights of my life, and I thank you for that privilege. The era I lived through is gone, but the stories we write live on. See you all again next year.
It's really simple to move the microphone up and down just for your information.
Well, I'll be sure I'll be an idiot.
Yeah. My name's Hope Kiter. I'm from Astoria. I look forward to this weekend all year, and I'm never disappointed. I actually work in this building. My office is in that direction, upstairs in the oldest part of the building, which they jacked up when they put the Columbia River Packers Association cold storage unit down here. I work in an office trying to keep my fishermen in their jobs.
Thank you.
Here, here, yes.
But what I'd like to share with you is a remembrance of somebody that I met when I came to work at this building. He was one of our cherished old-timers who's now gone over the horizon. His name was, Chuck
So we
Thompson.
understand, Hobie.
Thompson, in any case, Chris Thompson. And Chris came to work in this building when it was the Columbia River Packers Association cold storage unit. And he worked down at the far end of this building where the Rogue Pub is now. And he was a master filleter, and he split huge sides of salmon to lay carefully in great big barrels called tierces, and laying them between layers of salt. And they would put 800 or 900 pounds of these great big summer Chinook, which locally we knew as June hogs. They were fish that were pumpkin seed shaped, and they grew to be at least 50 pounds, and the largest of them topped 100 pounds. And they were the basis for the trade in mild cure salmon, which went in refrigerated cars from Astoria here to New York, where they were the basis of the lox that people ate with their bagels in the morning. And many of them were shipped over to Europe for similar uses there. In any case, those June hogs were extirpated when the federal government put in Grand Coulee Dam. And I saw Chris at a meeting in subsequent years, and I said, you know, I just read the National Marine Fisheries Service status report on mid-Columbia summer Chinook, and it says in there, in this document written in 1995, there is no empirical evidence that any such large species of fish as the June hog ever existed. And he began to shake. And he said, "That's terrible. I filleted them with my own hands." Who would you believe?
A long time ago, I knew a family in Svensson, just up the river from here. I knew a family in Svensson, just up the river from here.
It's really easy.
And they were, yeah, there you go. And the man who does it easily is doing it now, and I'm grateful. They had a church that taught that God made the fish, God made the river, God did not make the dams. Some of you know this one. My grandfather's river fed every family in town. Fish ran through our bloodline, deep, steady, and sound. Deep, steady, and sound. Deep, steady, and sound. High up in the mountains, creeks tumble and join. Many songs come together, deep, steady, and sound. Fish come in the winter, fish come in the spring and fall. Fattened up in the ocean, they make the forest tall. My grandfather's river ran strong and clean through mountains and canyons. She gathered the stream all the way down. She watered the land, touched every valley with a generous hand. Song of the highlands, song of the sea. They meet at the river mouth, they make a symphony. Song may go quiet, fish may not always come around. This river, she's waiting, deep, steady and sound. Deep, steady and sound. Deep, steady and sound. Thank you. I want to call out the work that our friends here, that actually everyone here is doing to make sure that the ocean still makes fish and the rivers still make fish. Hobe, you're a champion.
Yes.
Brad, you're a champion.
You all of you are. Thank you all.
I had to arm wrestle Brad and I lost, so I have to follow him. And then I had to arm wrestle Clem and I lost, so I have to come before him. Consequently, my name doesn't matter. This is called meditation before setting the net. Let the wind be clouded with birds. I will send my gear deep. Let the wind rip open the surface of abyss, and let the black be torn to snow under wings that Laysan albatross make fast to wind. I will set main wire to rumble, reeling off drums, winches unspooling as my trawl pulls. Let me ramp my revolutions per minute, one piston at a time, burning diesel in my wheel, turning till each blade of that propeller slices darkness to white. Let the wind bear fulmars beyond counting. Let the wind flourish glaucous-winged gulls as if penance whipped the length of frontiers, marking that boundary between feather and salt. I will send my foot rope as low as mud. I will weather my foot rope through sand. Let gravel abrade chain and shackle. I will haul back turn by turn on the main winches. Let wind salt the taste of the invisible into ritual bitching of quick-handed sailors, their tongues working sharper than the serrations honed upon their wicked little knives. Let the flavor of prayer, which is the rich flavor of sweat, gust in the mouth as deckhands kneel in the trawl alley, knotting broken meshes or seizing blasphemies to breast lines, every in-breath that they hitch stitched sweeter than the sweetest obscenity aimed at a skipper or at a shipmate or at God. I will witness the witchery of mariners who are only at home at sea. I will witness their casting of splices into cable. Let them yank net needles till elbows ache. Let their benzels clinch the cod end tight where one of my rib lines, parted, has been hammer-locked whole chain link by chain link. Let the wind wash over my hands as they wield small sledges and fids and thimbles. Let the wind be clouted by birds. Let the wind be harvest and harvester. Let the wind carve kittiwakes from wind. I will send my gear to the dark. Let the wind be sonar and sound my towpath, echoes falling, fathom upon fathom.
Bravo.
I'm Clem Stark. I'm from the East Coast originally. I came to the Northwest the first time 65 years ago. I rode in on a freight train into Southern Oregon from Utah. Wound up working on a railroad section gang in Eastern Oregon. This poem I'm going to read draws on that experience. It's called Long Creek, Walla Walla. We'd be drinking at a bar in La Grande on a Saturday night, a few of us from the Duncan section, when all of a sudden somebody'd say, "Let's go to Long Creek." So we'd pile into the back of his pickup and drive for hours through the vast sagebrush-scented Eastern Oregon night, till we came to a cluster of buildings, a tavern at a crossroads in the middle of nowhere. Not a whole lot was happening in the Long Creek Tavern, which later I learned was called by the locals a pastime. Jukebox silent, pool table deserted. One lone cowboy and the barmaid palavering. I was trying to figure why we had come there and what it all meant. I was new to the West, and distances were improbable. Well, who knows what it meant, and who knows where it was we went from there. Back to work on Monday morning, tamping ballast, lining track, maintaining the 20 miles of Union Pacific roadbed known as the Duncan section. Other weekends, it'd be different. We'd be drinking at a bar in Pendleton, and suddenly somebody'd say, "Let's go to Walla Walla."